Hey everyone, it's Jonathan here, founder of Driving Academy. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the difference between Class A and Class B. If you're looking to get your CDL, one of the first questions that you'll be faced with is actually, should you go for a CDL Class A or should you go for a CDL Class B? Well, here's the truth. Choosing the wrong one could cost you a lot of time, money, and actually limit your career options. So let's break it down for you. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which CDL is the right one for you, so you can hit your goals and ultimately get yourself on the road to freedom. Alright, so before you can actually pick the difference between Class A and Class B, you have to understand what is an actual CDL. CDL stands for Commercial Driver's License and gives you the ability to drive heavy vehicles, right? As long as a vehicle weighs more than 26,000 pounds, you're required to have a CDL license. Now, there's three types of CDL licenses. There's Class A, Class B, and Class C. The Class C is the only license that actually has that exception. This is where you're either transporting passengers, 16 or more passengers, in a vehicle that weighs less than 26,000 pounds, or you're transporting hazardous material. Now, in most cases, this video is just about Class A or Class B, so we're going to give you the details of what each one of those things look like. Now, for a CDL Class A, what is the actual difference there? That means it's a combination vehicle, which means you have usually a tractor and a trailer, so two vehicles, right? If the overall vehicle weighs more than 26,000 pounds, and whatever the trailer is weighs more than 10,000 pounds, then you need a Class A. So let's give you a few examples of what actual Class A vehicles look like. The most common is going to be 18-wheelers, right? So big tractor trailers. They come in many different shapes and sizes. So you got like a sleeper cab like this with a normal dry van trailer. You're gonna have like a tanker trailer right over here, as you guys can see there. You even have like a livestock trailer, as you guys can see. And if you guys want to get a little bit more complicated for a Class A, you can talk about things like driving a dump truck that has a heavy piece of equipment behind it, because the rules are simple. So if you want to go for a CDL Class A, this is actually where you're going to get the most job opportunities out there for you. This is where you're going to have things like over the road, which is also called OTR, regional or local routes as well. It also opens up the door for actually higher paying jobs as well, like freight or oversized loads. Now, CDL Class A drivers, as long as you're driving a CDL Class A vehicle, will actually make more money on average than the CDL Class B. And the facts are simple. Because you're driving a bigger vehicle, you can actually transport more stuff. And now if you're transporting more stuff, the company you're working for can charge more money for the stuff you're transporting. Versus a Class B is a smaller vehicle, they can't charge as much money to transport that load because it's much smaller. That being said, the company's making more money, so that means it can actually afford to pay you more money as a CDL Class A driver. Now, the other cool thing about having a CDL Class A license is it actually gives you the ability to actually drive most Class B vehicles. But the only exception is you cannot drive any buses or school buses unless you want to add the endorsement to those as well. So what does your schedule actually look like if you decide to go down the Class A route? So because there's many different opportunities out there, you get to decide what type of lifestyle you want to live. If you want to make as much money as possible, going over the road would probably be the best option for you. But of course, that's going to mean less home time. However, because you do have a Class A and you have that flexibility, if you decide to stay home and that is the most important thing to you, you can make great money as well, but you will be home on a daily basis. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average pay for a CDL Class A driver is about $80,000 per year. Now, when you compare that to the average American workforce, you're going to make a lot more money than anybody else around you. But if you want to make even more money, if you decide to be an over-the-road driver, the average driver there makes about $110,000 per year. That's right, I said $110,000 per year on average. If you go to the right school like ours, you're not going to be an average driver, you're going to be above average. What does that mean about your paycheck? Now, if $110,000 a year is not good enough for you, there's one level above that, and that's becoming an owner-operator. And on average, these guys make anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 a year, and now they start getting themselves on the true road to freedom by owning their own business and controlling the future that they want. So to sum it up, a CDL Class A gives you the most flexibility, the widest range of jobs, and most importantly, the highest pay. So if you're looking to get on the road to freedom the fastest way possible, a CDL Class A might be the best option for you. So if you heard all of that about the Class A and you're still not convinced, because probably in your head is like, that's way too big of a vehicle, I'll never be able to drive one of those things, that's where the CDL Class B comes in. So before we actually get into the details, let's explain to you what a CDL Class B vehicle actually is. So CDL Class B vehicle means it's a single vehicle, which means there's no longer their combination thing that we were talking about before, but the vehicle itself has to weigh more than 26,000 pounds. But if there is a trailer, maybe a small one, that trailer itself has to weigh less than 10,000 pounds. So let's go through some examples of CDL Class B trucks. So classic examples are going to be things like dump trucks, box trucks, cement trucks, and even garbage trucks itself. So now that you fully understand what a Class B is, what kind of jobs can you actually get with a Class B license? Now, because they are smaller vehicles, most of this stuff is going to be in a local environment. So if being local is super important to you, then getting a Class B license might be the best option for you. So different companies that you can actually get hired for is going to be things like construction companies, government jobs, bus driving, utility, or waste management, right? So there's a ton of different industries that actually require CDL drivers itself, which means there's actually not going to be any shortage if you want to go the Class B route as well. Now that you understand that you're going to be local in most cases, what does your schedule actually look like? So because you're going to be local, that means you're going to get paid by the hour and you're going to be home on a daily basis. Now let's talk about the money, because that's important for a lot of people. The average Class B driver makes about $53,000 per year, but there are certain jobs out there that can actually pay a little bit higher. So if you do want to add more things to your license, you can add what we call those endorsements before. So a passenger endorsement gives you the ability to drive buses. A school bus endorsement gives you the ability to drive school buses. You can even add hazmat to drive like smaller hazmat material, or tanker as well, because there are Class B trucks with tanks on there. And anytime you get an endorsement, you're going to be a little bit more specialized, which means you can actually start earning more money with that as well. So now that you went through all the information on Class A and Class B, you might be saying, hey John, what if I want to drive everything under the sun? Let's show you exactly how to do that. You're going to want to get a CDL Class A license with a passenger endorsement on your license. So if you do that, that gives you the ability to drive all Class A vehicles plus buses, right? You can drive any Class A, any Class B, but you're avoiding any buses. But if you do this trick, you're going to be able to drive pretty much everything there. Now, in order to do that, you're going to have to go get your CDL Class A, which means pass a written test, get your passenger endorsement done on your permit, and then passing 2 road tests, one in a Class A vehicle and the next one in an actual bus. Once you do it once, as long as you keep up with your physicals and make sure that you're staying healthy, you have that license for the rest of your life. All right, so now let's do a quick recap so you understand the key differences at a glance. We got our Class A vehicles and our Class B vehicles. When it comes to the Class A, it can have a combination vehicle, which is a trailer that's more than 10,000 pounds. When it comes to the Class B, it has to be a trailer, if it has any at all, that has to weigh less than 10,000 pounds. When it comes to the flexibility, Class A lets you pretty much drive both Class A and Class B vehicles. Class B only covers Class B, so much less flexible. All right, so now let's talk about the type of jobs you're gonna get. You're gonna have Class A, which is gonna give you many different options, which is over the road, regional, and local. Or if you decide to go Class B, you're gonna be mostly just with local opportunities available for you. And then from there, let's talk about the pay. So Class A vehicles will generally pay significantly higher, simply because you're gonna be driving a bigger vehicle. It requires more skills for that, and you can demand a higher pay for that. Class B, you can still make great money, but it is gonna be less than the Class A. But there is gonna be trade-offs there, right? So when you talk about lifestyles itself, if you're after the Class A pay, the highest pay possible, you're gonna be over the road a whole lot, which means you're not gonna be coming home every single day. If home time is something that's super important to you, you can make a great living and still be a Class B driver, and you get the best of both worlds. So we talked about the differences, but what do they have in common? So because they're both a CDL vehicle, both vehicles have to weigh more than 26,000 pounds, and they have the same requirements to actually get that CDL license. So you're gonna have to be at least 18 years of age or older to actually get a CDL license. And once you're actually over the age of 21, then you can actually use that CDL license across state lines. You're gonna have to have a valid driver's license currently. You can't have a probationary, and you cannot not have a license, right? So you need a car license first. You must be healthy enough to actually pass a DOT physical. And then there's really a 2-step process to get your actual license itself. Step number 1, pass a few written tests to get yourself a CDL permit. Step number 2 is gonna be making sure you're passing a 2.5-hour long road test. The exact examination is exactly the same, whether you're gonna go Class A or Class B. The only difference is what type of vehicle you're gonna be taking the test in. So in closing, at the end of the day, here at Driving Academy, we're the best CDL school to train you both, whether you wanna go Class A or Class B. The choice is yours, and we have both to offer there too. Now you might be thinking some other things that we didn't talk about in the video, like, hey, do I learn how to drive stick shift? Do I not learn how to drive stick shift and all that? We have all those things available for you as well. Some of the cool things about our school is we're open up 7 days a week. So no matter which which journey you want to go on, we can actually help you get a CDL Class A or a CDL Class B 7 days a week, and you get to pick your schedule. We also offer payment plans available, so $500 down is all you need to get started. And we actually have state-of-the-art driving simulators. So if driving a big CDL Class A is super nerve-wracking for you, it's understandable. It's a big vehicle. We'll teach you exactly what you need to do to get comfortable, and we'll put you on our simulator before you actually get on the real truck on the real road after that. So what are you waiting for? If you are ready to get yourself on the road to freedom, check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com. Find a location near you, and our team is ready and trained to get you licensed and to get you on the road to freedom today. Thanks, and check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to get your CDL license, you know where to go. Check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com, right over there. And if you like this video, you'll definitely like this video right over here, so make sure you check that out. But before anything else, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you soon.